live? We are. Okay. Sorry, I missed that. Hey, welcome to the Death of a Dream podcast where all dreams come true, except for some don't and some die, and we talk about that too. And I think that's the most important part. What happens to you after your dream dies really sets a different trajectory for your life. And I'm obsessed with this idea, like where do we go? How do we navigate world after that happens, after that moment? For some people it's singular, for other people it happens frequently. And honestly, I had beaten myself up for such a long time about this idea that my life was supposed to go this one very certain way. And once I got back on that track, I had sort of experienced success there. And what I realized at the top was I was already swimming in it. And so, most importantly, I was serving a purpose that didn't really serve me. It was just what everyone else wanted for me. And because they thought that that's what I wanted. And I thought that it was what I wanted, but it was really just what was easiest to adopt. And why did I avoid that? Why? Okay. Let's ground ourselves in our greatness before we dive all the way into all of that craziness, right? Let's chill a little bit. It's just the morning dose right here. People are trying to decide if they're even going to listen to this episode. Get it right, Hannah. Okay. So, my great thing has just been, I think recovery, kind of the reset of starting to gear up for the new year and start to set intentions and really, I don't know, and I'll keep saying this, all of us are going, 2021, yay, it's got to be better than 2020. And I'm not wanting all of you, I love you dearly. I don't want all of you to set yourself up for bigger disappointment, but it's not going to be the flip of a page. The world's not going to go back to normal. We're not going to be like 2021, bye 2020. Nothing carried over from there. Goodbye. Burn it all down. No. 2021 is still going to be a little bit disruptive, so I want you to prepare for that. And not to take you down a bad path. If you were seeking that hope and you were wanting to cling to that, go for it. But set yourself up with the reality that it may not just flip back yet. You can, because you've learned and you've grown in this year, but don't go all in on it being this whole new experience, this whole new reality that we live in, because it may not be for a little while still. Okay, that was slightly dismal and saddening, but here we are, living the truth of the reality of the situations that we're in. Here's the thing. Gosh, last year I remember sitting down, getting really excited. There was this thing over in China. It was this virus that certainly wasn't going to come here, certainly wasn't going to impact us. And then I remember sitting down and really setting a path and really thinking about my intentions for the year and wanting to be so intentional that in fact intention was my word for 2020. And I think there are so many different practices that can help guide you down the right path. One, anything that you want to accomplish, you have to be specific. Yes, annoyingly specific. And start talking about it as if you already have, right? There's power in manifestation, and you can't manifest, right? If you just keep saying on repeat, we're broke, we have no money, that's what you're going to continue to manifest. So you just keep saying it. You just keep calling it back into your life. And so let's start shifting the realities of the conversations that we're having. And while it's okay, right, to speak true to your reality, protect yourself from continually calling bad things into your life, right? Like bad things always happen to us. This la 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 la, that mindset is going to keep you in that cycle. The mindset, misery mindset almost. So what can you do to release yourself from that? Really just putting intention behind the things you want to do and accomplish, and speaking to those instead of things you don't want to happen, period. All the time. And this is a hard one, definitely easier for me because I am, a self-proclaimed optimist. It's choosing the bright side, but it's almost more than that, right? It's deeper than that even. It's like bright side mixed with inability to continually speak to reality, even if the dirt and gross and nasty bad things happening is your reality, right? And it's okay to live there. We have to recover from that. And how do we do that? We just keep speaking good into existence. Like, okay, this is happening. I don't like this, but good things are coming as a result, right? Like, even when bad things happen, what if we start speaking to those bad things in ways that we know that the good is going to follow, right? Where we almost invite the bad in because we're like, oh no, everything's been going good. Okay, that's a crazier thing. The other thing is, I really so goal setting, go crazy, okay? Do not lose yourself on physical goals being the only thing if you have other goals. Now, yes, there definitely are things that you're going to want to work on that are physical, but I want you to really sit with whether those physical goals are yours or those are you wanting to fit. Now, if it's health, if it's actually something that you want to accomplish and it's not really just in trying to match a magazine, then go for it. But make sure that you protect yourself from trying to accomplish things that are unaccomplishable, which is trying to look like, I don't know, name a supermodel, right? Some of those things just aren't true or real, and so we got to stop setting ourselves up to fail. Come on, right? Unless that's what you want and you want to go all in on that and you feel so excited about that. But a lot of those things really don't serve us well and take up a lot of our mental energy. So go ahead, but just be specific and realistic. Some things are going to take time, right? So saying that you want to look like Cindy Crawford on the front cover of the magazine when she was 19 and you're 65 is probably going to take a little bit longer, right? And that may be a kind of bridge goal of that's end game, but we probably have 5 years of daily work and sacrifice ahead of us to get there. Okay, so measurable, realistic, and just give yourself time. You're not going to get there overnight. The greatest gift you can give yourself is consistency on any goal that you have, period. And now today, we kind of dove right past our great things. It's okay. Do your great thing. Okay. Now today I want to talk about words. I like to set a word. I have very crazy words that are part of my life. I can't even explain how they came to be, and I think sometimes that's how you know that it is your word. And for me, I would say last year, so my word for 2020 was intention. Duh. I don't know that that's a duh thing, but I know at the beginning of 2020, it was like intention. We want to live this life with intention. We definitely want to live 2020 with intention. What are we here to do, and why are we doing it? And so I had just started the podcast. I was about 4 months in at that point, and I knew that I had kind of stumbled upon the discovery that I hadn't really decided much. And I had known that, but I think I got so much deeper. I had thought that I hadn't decided. I had decided what my dreams were, and they weren't enough. And then I start to stumble on and realize that I hadn't made any decisions for my life at all. And so that really was the line in the sand moment, 2020, walking into 2020 and saying, like, we're putting intent behind the things that we do. We're aligning the life that I want to live with the things that I want out of it, not the things that people want out of me anymore. And so when you think about really the full circle journey of 2020, what a powerful place to go into that year, and to still come out on the other side. Now, we went through the valley and the shadows and all of that through that time. So, like, throwing that word of 2020 intention out there, really, it makes perfect sense now, looking back, for why that was my word. And I think it was such a beautiful guiding light. It definitely saved me from a lot of missteps. Nothing is a mistake. But I know that word guided me past some things that would have definitely thrown me off course. And so, yeah, like, intention was the perfect word. Now, how did I get on the word intention? I'm going to have to go back and listen to the podcast on my word, but I know that we did some work on picking a word. And I like to just let words speak to me. It seems a little silly, but like, basically you're just going to ask for a word, and you're going to just start thinking about a word. Just start thinking about words in general, and then as you start to, like, sit down and plan and write and think about what you maybe think you want to accomplish in 2021, even if that's like, my 2020 really was just about making decisions that aligned with my life once I figured out what alignment looked like for me. And I don't even know that I knew at that point that this is where that was going to lead. I think that I wanted it to lead certain places, but I would have had no idea that everything that happened last year. And so, yeah. So start asking, what is it, right? What is it that you want to do? And for me, words are so important. And it's possibly because I enjoy writing as a medium. I enjoy speaking words as a medium of choice. And so words just hold very near and dear to my heart. But I've also seen teams and people rally around words, and the importance of that singular word change sometimes. Like, sometimes we put so little intention behind the words that we're saying, and the words that we're naming things, we just name them because that's what it's been named and that's what we do. But really start thinking about what that is manifesting and what that is doing to a person, people, your team, yourself, right? What are you naming yourself? What are the things you're saying to yourself? What are the words that you're calling into your life? Start thinking about those things. You think that they don't make that big a difference. You think that they really don't. But if you change something today with how you're speaking to yourself, it would have massive impact, waterfall effects of changing your life. Just that one thing. So the words, the intentions, the things that we're putting out there, right? What's most important? So start asking, what do I want my word to be? Where do I want to land at the end of this? What do I want to do here? That's a good question. And I haven't settled on my word for 2020 yet. I like to kind of put it out there. And so I'll start probably putting it out there. It's the 29th, so we better get rolling on putting stuff out there here pretty soon. And maybe tomorrow I'll dig up what my goals were for last year. I have like my business goals that are written on my boards over here. And I think they still fit. They're good. Interestingly enough, I had written like my money goal for my business. And I think the funnier thing is the exact number that I wrote was the exact number that would have bridged my salary gap. So like when I left my job to starting my business, it like that number was the exact number that I needed. And it's funny because I wrote those at the beginning of 2020. So like I wouldn't have known that number would speak so specifically to that gap. But, I think we really accomplished all the things, certainly, that I wrote down last year. First, increase reach, audience growth of 500 by 2020. No doubt we hit that. I've seen amazing growth. I've seen more plays of more episodes than I've ever seen in this last year, and I think we're only getting started. And the most amazing thing is that this isn't some like pumped into all the places advertised crazy type podcast where I had a big following and then I did a podcast. Like this was starting from zero. This was and still is very much an organic. So if someone finds this or hears this, it's because of you sharing it and letting people know, or they somehow stumbled upon something that I wrote or shared about it. But it's purely organic. There's not a dime dropped into the audience following for this podcast, which is very intentional in the work that I'm doing. But yes, we definitely saw audience growth of 500 by 2020 for sure. Grow a revenue generating business of revenue of $20,000 by 2021. I still have to sit down and finish the books for 2021 and get all of receipts and tax stuff collected. But my guess is we're pretty close potentially to that number. And that is not from like this podcast making money. That's from me figuring out different ways to freelance and do different things. And I don't know that we quite got to 20,000, but it may be close. And I think that's the power of what you write up there. I probably should have written more, but at that point it was specifically a side hustle. It really was just me hoping and wanting to do something on the side. It wasn't ever going out and thinking that this would be something that I do full time. So I think we could probably do more and maybe that manifests a little bit less than what was possible, but definitely like working in that direction. People focus, so respond 100% one-on-one when engaging with people. No doubt I did that. If you ever reached out to me in any capacity, like, you got me. There's no one that does anything for me. This is all self-ran. So anything that you see, any production of anything that comes out of here is this gal. And hopefully you have seen and felt my presence in the spaces that you have seen me in, and in the places where we connected. Okay. Create engaging content. Increase engagement of content by 30% by 2021. Yeah, we did this. And amazingly, we did this engagement piece during a time that engagement for podcasts definitely has scaled downward. I think it speaks volumes to the type of people who are listening to this, to just the shift in what people want and how they want to receive it. And, just in pureness of people and the beauty and the changing of any menu of any medium as you forge into this creative world. Like, it's always going to be ever changing. And so there's a potential that I'm capturing an audience who hasn't come to podcasting before. And so that means that format starts to change as the consumer of it starts to change along with it. And so I think, that's why we saw an increase in content. There's also a potential that some people pushed pause, and that allowed for this to penetrate a little bit deeper because it hasn't stopped. But yes, we definitely increase engagement by 30%. And then grow outlets. So create 3 new channels to connect with people by 2021. We added YouTube probably around May, June time. We added a YouTube channel and a TikTok channel. So that would be 2. And then we started getting more active on Facebook and added Pinterest. So we've been growing and expanding, doing a lot more work on LinkedIn. So if you are on LinkedIn, go ahead and follow me there as well. But just finding new places to put this work out there. My work is such an interesting body of work because it really is coupling storytelling with podcasting, which is not a well-traveled path. I think the medium's shifting. I think there will be more opportunity for storytellers to come over to this format. It makes perfect sense, but definitely forging the path on letting a story play out over time. It's not like a movie. If you're listening to this content every single day, that's a lot of content. But people, whether 1 episode helps or 200 episodes help, like, I'm just going to be here, period. Because it's not about that. Like, first off, I love doing this. I love telling and curating the story and thinking through my life and just thinking, period. And bringing those thoughts that I have on my life or life in general here and being able to talk through them. I find that experience very engaging. And then the coupled beautiful side of that, when I get to engage with people on those thoughts and opinions on a deeper level, whether that's in a face-to-face meeting, which hasn't been happening very often, or just like a quick chat, email, like whatever that is. I love the expansion of ideas and thoughts. And so that's what this is. This is just the collection of how I'm approaching life on any given day and my interpretation of that life and the beauty that exists within it. So start thinking, okay, or we might be a little behind the 8 ball, but like, here's what I don't want you to do. Think and plan for 2020 to flip a page and for everything to go back to normal in 2021. Plan for some unnormalness, which is beautiful. I honestly think my family will probably incorporate 2021 weekends into our, not 2020 weekends into our like daily occurrence where we just don't go anywhere. And we'll probably do that at least quarterly. And I don't know that we would have ever slowed down like that if this hadn't happened. So don't just flip the switch. Not going to happen. Plan in a little bit of silence and self-growth into the year 2021 as well, and allow yourself to sit there, hang out there, plan for that, and enjoy it a little bit. A lot of it. Hi. Enjoy that time. And then, like, let's start thinking of what your word for this year is going to be, right? Is it self-growth? Is it discovery? Like, what is that word for you? And allow yourself to navigate any word that seems to come up. And I think that this is the most interesting part, is like, once you put that intention out there, like, I'm looking for a word for 2021, like, what word is going to guide me and ground me and give me life? The word will come to you, it will surface to you, it will be in more things than you even like to think about, but you have to ask. And it's probably going to be awkward if this is the first time that you've kind of asked the universe for something. You don't even have to do it out loud, but like, maybe it's a prayer, maybe it's however you intentionally interact with your spiritual side, whatever that looks like for you, you can ask there. And just ask for guidance on a word for 2020, and that word will start to surface to you and you won't be able to escape it. So I'm going to ask right after this, like, what is my word? Last year, intention just played so freely to me all the week leading up to 2020. So, and that word guided me and grounded me so beautiful through that entire year. You know, everything that I was doing had to be intentional with the pursuit of who I wanted to be and where I wanted to go, and not just, you know, the pursuit of trying to build a business and hurry up and grind and DM and do all the crazy stuff. Like, no, the intention really was in finding me, in making me, and that's like a long haul journey. So you're always doing that. So put it into the universe. Ask that spiritual side. What is your word? What are you here to accomplish in this coming year? What do you need to focus on, work on? Like, what is your word? And once you find that word, go ahead and like message me. I want to know what your word is. I want to like put some love and intention behind that word for you as well. So once I find mine, I will let all of you know. It will go up on my board, and we will go ahead and set our lives up for this year, for what this year is supposed to be. And I'll try to capture all the ways that my word starts to play into my life. From here on out, it'll probably likely be similar to the cardinals in, you know, you ask for a sign and it comes to you. So that's what I want you to do today. If you've already done that, just let me know what your word is, but definitely put some intention behind that. I think it's nice to have just something as a guiding post. Not that we're going to maybe stick to it for the full year. The year may change drastically and our word may have to change with it, but I think you'll be amazed by how your word plays out and surfaces to you. As always, you're smart, you're strong, you're beautiful. What are you going to do? Change the word.